My definition of courage would be somebody who would be able to work hard towards an objective that is inherently not good for their health.
Listen up, you motherfuckers. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the bullshit. Welcome back to the nonsense. Because you are dealing with the best trucker out here.
What's going on, everybody? What's happening? Welcome back to the bullshit. We haven't talked to bullshit in a while. I do apologize for that. I haven't made a video in I don't know how long. I appreciate the emails, text messages, comments, all that, people checking in on me. Sorry that I haven't responded to some of them emails yet. They're kind of long. I just haven't been feeling the internet, social media, YouTube, none of that really. Just kind of flowing with life, man. The economy sucks. Trucking kind of been sucking for a few years. I'm getting old, But I'm going to get back around to it. At least get this video out. But I'm planning on getting back on YouTube is kind of my plan. Get back in the vibe. I'm having a little struggle even getting this video out. This is like take 10. And I'm not even joking. I keep getting phone calls, text messages. My dad keeps coming out, knocking on the door. The neighbor's got to run around with his no muffler having car. And the kids are out here yelling. And I'm just not flowing. So this ain't like a big content video. This is just me talking some bullshit. I think things are going to get better. I mean, still trucking. I've been in it for what, 25 years? It's not great. It never has been. It's just trucking. Like right now, obviously I'm at home. It's kind of funny. My brother was over here the other day and it was the first time he ever came to my bedroom. And he looked at the wall back there and he goes, "Oh, I thought you were shooting your videos from a motel room." Like, no, this is my humble trailer. We had to downsize. No more Harleys, RVs, boats, big houses, all that, Silverados, all that stuff we used to have in the old videos, because everything's pretty shitty now. So you got to kind of downsize to keep it real, right? Or at least I had to. Plus, I just kind of got old and don't really feel like doing all that anymore, amazingly enough. I'm home right now because trucking's trucking. I went and grabbed my bobtail, got over there Saturday to haul a load out to New York. I was actually paying $4.40 a mile. I'm on percentage. So I wanted to take it, and then the load ended up dropping out. So I ended up coming home, hopefully get a load in the morning if the truck companies are up and around in the morning. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think things are going to get better, right? I mean, you look at all the changes that we'll talk about here in a minute. It definitely took out a lot of capacity. The capacity leaving the market is definitely good. It's definitely spot on, right? Look at tender rejection, man. For a while, it was way up there. Now it's getting back down again. If you don't know what that is, like, companies will contract freight through shippers, which is good to do in like a slumpy, shitty trucking market. Because then you got guaranteed freight, even though you might be hauling it cheap, at least you can keep your trucks working. But then when the spot rates go up like they are right now, then it's good to take your trucks off there and put them on the spot market because you'll make more money. So you're rejecting the loads, which the loads ultimately go back to the spot market. So it puts more on the spot market, which causes trucking. Good explanation, huh? See, look at that. That's pretty good. I mean, some people say the rates aren't up. I don't understand that, because you look at truckstop.com, look at FreightWaves, or even the other day I got back to the shop, walked in, the boss man was like, "Hey man, check this out." Flips the computer screen around, $3.80 a mile, $4 a mile, all these loads. He's like, "Man, shit's going up." He's like, "I might just get my own authority." Which I'll explain that in a minute, But he's been signing on through this slumpy economy because, it seems like the thing to do because the bigger carriers had more freight and all that. But with the spot market going up, I could see where you might want to be thinking about getting your own authority, right? Which would help me. But the main problem right now is the volumes are low because our economy sucks. Because they say we're not in a recession, but it feels like we're in a recession. Everybody's broke or in debt. Inflation's just through the roof. So people aren't spending, therefore, the volumes are low. Well, some of it's already changing. You look at the amount of ads that are on Indeed and YouTube or on Glassdoor and all that. They're up And what about them emails we used to get? Like every now and then you'd get an email from a company wondering if you want to come over there and work. There's always some stupid job usually. But now I'm getting like 5 emails a week, for decent looking companies that I haven't researched or nothing. But it's kind of showing in the sign-on bonuses and like luring you in with stuff again. I don't know. It's like the companies can see it, so they're trying to retain drivers or get drivers because they know it's going to boom. How long before the economy flips around? I don't know about that. Like, I don't like Trump. Never have, never will. I think he's done some good stuff. I mean, I'm just going to speak on trucking, the stuff he's done with trucking, or at least allowed like Duffy and those guys to do it, made it happen. Definitely, because we were being overran by foreigners and foreign trucking companies. And I have no issue with the foreigners. I've spoken on that before. They basically were getting screwed, used like slaves and run cheap, and all that. The foreign companies, I don't like them. They're shady, But, it's taking all that shit out. Well, as far as the economy, that's a good question, man, because Trump's an idiot. All these tariffs and wars and all that stuff, it's not, the companies, like the manufacturers and all that, they're not really wanting to grow or do a whole lot. Some are, some aren't. Some are laying off, right? You guys all know this. But when the volumes kick around, whether it be when Trump's term's over or not, whatever it is, boy, it's going to be like the perfect storm. With the capacity being taken out of the market and then higher volumes, oh boy, we're going to get paid. We're going to get paid. That's what's going to happen, right? And then it might be good. Me, I'm trying to stay optimistic because, as you guys know, over the last 3 years, shit, I've taken a full year off, just because it wasn't even worth it to go work for these companies. They kept screwing me over and not paying me and doing this and that. And finally I was like, man, I'm just going to go home and just kind of wait it out. And then at some point I was like, man, I got to like completely get out of trucking, I did some local stuff, as you guys know, just don't really like the local, we've tried that a bunch of times. I know, what I mean? I always get on the road for a while and then I get burned out and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go local. I can see where you'd want to do it if you had a family and you want to be home every night, but they seem like a hassle to me. The LTL company at first, the pay was really good there. Their ads are real. The 1,800 to 2,000 a week, everybody's doing that all day there. But you're not really a truck driver, you're more of a dock worker. At first it was like alright because I'm running the forklift and I have to figure out where this freight goes and I'm like thinking and stuff like that, so it was cool because I get bored just driving the truck across country a lot, because I've been doing it for a while. But then it just turned into a bunch of nonsense, and then you just work like 15 hours a day, you come home, you sleep, you go back to work. Wasn't a horrible job, but I was just like, man, these local jobs just aren't me, you know what I mean? At least not yet. I know some of y'all are laughing because you're like, how many times have you tried this? I always end up back over the road. It's just easier for me, to not deal with all that shit. There's a ton of local jobs around here right now, for sure. For sure. And they pay. Just don't want to deal with it. I kind of like being on the road, sort of, when things are going good, I don't know, just milling around waiting for all this to blow over, I mean, like I said, the rates are up, tender rejections down. A lot of this has been put in place is going to be a permanent effect on capacity staying low. The companies that went bankrupt, they were riding the edge, they weren't running all that well, right? And then you got like the visas being really hard to get. We were being overloaded with foreign drivers because visas were just being handed out left and right. They're pretty much impossible to get now unless you got some niche thing going on, The no more non-domicile CDL thing, which I get it. You're going to say some places are still doing it. Yeah, but they've slowed it way down, The shady foreign trucking schools, that were doing the trucker mills, like bring over a foreigner and then he goes out and crashes and messes up and they just got another one waiting at the trucking school to get him out, which they were using those guys, like slave labor. The ELP, English Language Proficiency deal, they're enforcing that, and then obviously some of that's slipping through. I heard some people on some videos talking the other day, like, oh, people are out here still not speaking English, or they're still catching people. Well, what do you think? They're just gonna like come in and all of a sudden go bam and catch everybody all at one time? I mean, how many times have you ran your truck with like a flat tire or air leak or some shit? I mean, if you've been trucking for a while, you've ran when you knew you were overweight, or your logbook was, you were cheating on your logbook or something like that. They don't catch everything. That's impossible. Otherwise, we'd have no crime or anything in the entire world, right? It'll take time to catch them all, but it scared a whole bunch of them, and they just left on their own. And then the deportation and all that, you know, a bunch of them were like, screw that. Even though they had a legal status, you might end up in some ICE center trying to prove it. So they were like, I'm going to go home because I don't want to end up in a ICE detention center. And then as far as like the foreigners that are here that you still see out there, some of them got legal status now. So they're just going to be here. They're Americans now. Some of them, their visas just haven't expired yet. So they'll expire over the next 3 or 4 years, and then they'll be out of the game, and they're not bringing in new ones, right? You get what I'm saying? So if they're not bringing in new ones, and we're going to continue at a steady pace losing more capacity, it's going to build up to like probably a problem, really, where they're going to might technically actually have a truck driver shortage. That could actually happen. I never believed that before. It's always just a lie. But it could happen, you know, if everything goes the same. You got the cabotage enforcement, you know, which on that one I wasn't sure. I thought it was people switching their DOT numbers, which it kind of is, but not. Cabotage is actually a French word from something, I don't know. I looked it up once. It has nothing to do with your cab of your truck. It's basically, you remember NAFTA? The North American Fair Trade Act back in the day. They put it in because it used to be like if you came out of Mexico, you had to haul your load up to the Mexican border, right? And then an American driver would come down and pick it up the Mexican border and go deliver it somewhere in the United States or Canada. You had to come down, you know. And they changed it so the drivers could come in and deliver their loads. But they're supposed to come in, like let's say you're coming out of Mexico and you're going to Chicago to deliver a load. You're supposed to come out of Mexico, go into Chicago, deliver your load, and then reload somewhere around there and go back to Mexico. You're not allowed to go from Chicago out to Philadelphia and then out to Denver and run around inside the United States. The NAFTA didn't allow that. But the cabotage shit, we all know they were doing it, right? So they're enforcing that right now. Are they going to be able to catch them all? The same as what I said about the other stuff. Not necessarily. But the fear alone, because I should have probably researched this a little better and wrote down some notes, but man, like if they catch you, they're impounding the truck and giving like these huge $10,000 fines, and they're taking the load, you know, then you lose the load. Like it's a pretty severe offense. So it kind of makes you wonder if it's worth it, if you're doing that kind of shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's going to scare some people from not doing that. Are people still going to do it? Hell yeah. People are going to do all kinds of stuff. The broker liability thing, right? Where the brokers can be sued. Because you know how it was going, right? Why hire this decent or good trucking company for X amount of dollars a mile when you can hire this shady company over here and get it cheaper? Because the brokers get a certain amount to haul that load. The cheaper they get it hauled, the more money they get to profit. So, of course, they want to go with the cheap foreign company that's switching out their DOT numbers or running ghost companies and stuff like that, right? Well, that put a huge stop to that because now if you book this load through whatever, Walmart or whatever, right, and you hire this shady ghost foreign company and then they crash, now the brokerage can be sued for it. So the brokerages are actually looking at CSA scores and inspections and stuff like that to make sure you've been around, you're legit, you got good safety scores and all that stuff. Now, that's going to cause a little bit of a problem for like owner-operators and independents because if you haven't had much for inspections or you just don't really have the stout, you know, of being around for a while, it might be a little hard for independents to compete with the larger companies off the brokered loads, right? So that's not necessarily good because you don't really want to mess up the owner operators because they're the ones that kind of keep the competition going and keep the larger companies in check a little bit. That could be a problem down the road, right? But all of that. Then we had the clearinghouse, right? Back, that was a while back. Took out a shit ton of people that were on drugs, man. I was surprised how many people were. It's just all like the perfect amount of crap that needed to happen. You know, and like I said, eventually this economy will kick back around. It always does. I came up in the 80s, we were in a recession. We were in the 90s and the 2000s. Shit was great. Late 2000s, by 2008, we went into another recession. Remember the housing bubble and all that? And then we came out of it again, you know, and things were great. We'll come out of this, you know. I'm just happy to see they did this much with trucking. You know, I mean, even, you remember how I used to be like the guy, you know, like 2 million miles, perfect safety score, always loads on time. Remember I went through my phase after my divorce where I was partying a lot and kind of slacking and like fucking around and quitting jobs and bouncing, job hopping. Well, that came up to bite me in the ass as well right now because for a while we had so much overcapacity. These companies were like, nah, we don't need him. You know what I mean? I'm getting my record cleaned back up, you know, getting my shit together so it won't be a problem in the future. But, you know, it's just all that coming together, right? It is what it is, man. Other than that, what do I got going on? I'm just working, man. Like, just run around doing mostly broker freight, spot market freight, not really customer freight. So what ended up happening with that is I found this company and then they had like 70 trucks, you know. I got hold of them. It didn't sound so bad and everything. It sounded like better than, because I was going to like companies and then just leaving because they were shady as fuck, or they had like trucks over here with different DOT numbers, and then I would like Google that and find out that they were just changing over to these DOT numbers and that's why their safety score was better and just all this shady shit. So I was like looking for quite a while, like months, you know, and just being a little bit picky, and then they were being a little picky with me. So I ended up being home for months, and I finally come across this place. I go in there, they give me this nice Kenworth and all this, and everything looks good. Well, I get in this argument with the shop boss guy over like a blowgun and how many tire chains I had to carry and just stupid shit. Like, it was just so stupid, so childish stuff. And me and him ended up getting into a pretty heated argument. Well, I was like, I'm not going to deal with this guy. So I went and told him, I was like, man, I'm not going to work here. That guy's an idiot, you know? Like, I can't put in a blowgun? Like, really? And they wanted to dictate every little thing that was going on. And the trucks were governed at like 66 mile an hour and didn't idle, and just, it was just stupid once I actually got there, you know? So then I went to the owner. I, you know, told him like, hey man, sorry to waste everybody's time, but I'm not going to work here. I'm not going to deal with that guy. I'm not going to deal with this shit. And he's like, oh man, we'd really like to have you. So I'm just not going to deal with it. And he was like, I tell you what, call this guy. He's my friend. He's got like 4 trucks signed on here as owner operator trucks. He would, you know, he would like to have you. So I called him up, and he's like, dude, you've been trucking a while, blah, blah, blah. We sat on the phone for like 45 minutes just talking some nonsense. He's like, man, I would really like to have you as a driver, because he likes to just keep less drivers because most of his money comes from his repair shop. He runs a truck repair shop. And then he just has some trucks signed on with the company for some side cash, right? Well, he didn't have no trucks. So I was like, man, that sucks. You seem like a good dude. I'd like to work there, but you know, you don't got no trucks. So I'm like, here we go again. Got to find another job. I was actually thinking about flying down to Texas and out to Iowa and all this to get a job. Well, he calls me back like the next day, like right on the spot with it. And he's like, how long do you got to be at work like this week? This was like a Tuesday. I was like, no, I don't expect to be at work for a couple of weeks. It's gonna take me that long to get orientated into a job these days. It ain't like the old days where you call them on Monday and you're in a truck on Thursday. And he's like, I'm gonna see if I can find a truck. Let me call you back tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, all right. I've heard this before. You know what I mean? Tomorrow afternoon rolls around. He's like, hey man, I'm at the dealership right now. I'm buying this truck for you. He goes, it is a Freightliner. Because I guess he likes Kenworths and Peterbilts, you know. I said, I don't care. I actually like Freightliners, man. I'm a Freightliner guy, right? He's like, all right, it's a nice truck. He's like, I'm going to buy it right now. It'll take me, a week or whatever to get it all legal and lettered up and inspected and all that stuff. I was like, cool. So he did all that. I like the truck. It's a nice truck. Yeah. And then we were originally going to sign on with this other company where I was going to do this ag exempt farm shit. But then we signed on, we were getting ready to sign on there. And then we realized, like he realized and I realized as well before him, but I was just kind of going with him because he's my boss, about the rates being higher. And he was like, what do you think? Like, we can make more money if you just run these other ones. Because the other one, I was going to be home every weekend, I said, I don't really care if I'm home every weekend, man. And I don't care where I go. You can run me anywhere in the United States other than New York City and the boroughs down there and all that, Long Island and all that bullshit. Fuck, I ain't going down there. But other than that, I don't care when or where. I'll chain, do whatever you want to do. Stay out for 2 or 3 weeks. He was like, that's what I thought. He's like, man, we can make a lot more money with these rates. And I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to see about signing you on with this other company, which ended up being that original company that I was going to go work for. Now, is it great? No. I mean, it's a trucking company, dude. Like, stupid shit happens. People are dumb. They give me my logbook. When you do your pre-trip, you usually just check the X and it clicks all the thing. It says brake chambers, tires, airbags, wiper blades, all that. You gotta click, 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 click down the whole fucking thing and check it all, man. I know it's small time shit, right? But man, in the morning, you're like, click, 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 what the fuck? So some dumb shit. And then the way we were rolling before, we were just doing Motive on my phone and then no driver cameras, just kind of a little bit of old schooling, Well, once the truck got signed on to that company, they put their logbook in it and their camera in it and all that stuff. But hey, that's trucking now, man. Almost everybody I know that's trucking's got driver-facing cameras now. What are you gonna do? It ain't like the old days where we're like, man, fuck you, I'm just not gonna work here. Where are you gonna work? You ain't go work over here for, less money because there's a camera pointed at you? Do I think driver-facing cameras are cool? No, I think they're stupid. But I've gotten used to them. I've had them in a bunch of my trucks. And I've even got to the point where it's like, you know what? I don't care. Because I don't text or nothing when I'm driving. I don't do anything that really I wouldn't want you to see. The only thing that bothers me with them is they have audio on them. We talked about that before. I don't like that because that's bullshit. If I'm on the phone, I'm having an argument with my ex-wife or one of my kids or something. They don't need to be hearing all that. But hey, that's the world we're in now. There's cameras everywhere, and your phone's got shit on it and they're tracking you and it's all nonsense. I agree. It's all complete nonsense. Hell, just to do my editing software, they updated it, and now it's all AI and shit. I've been trying to figure that out. And I've been doing these videos for 5 years on there? Shit made me frustrated. That's just the way it's going. I don't really know what to say about all that. I got in the truck after we signed on with that other company, and I was like, really? And then I was happy that they gave me a tablet. You guys will laugh at this. But they gave me a tablet that's fucking huge. I mean, this thing has got to be like a 8x12 tablets, like take up the whole dashboard. Beggars can't be choosers, right? Because I do hate using my phone. It does suck using my phone for a logbook. But I was like, got in the truck, I'm like, damn, dude, that's not a logbook. That's like a flat screen TV. Wait, what the fuck are we doing here? But yeah, that's where I'm at. I can't really think much more on that. I mean, just other than going like way back, I had an issue with a trucking company that like left me down in Alabama. Because the truck kept breaking down, I kept fixing it and this and that, and then it broke down there, and then we got into an argument because they tried to say I broke the radiator. How do you break a radiator? It was an old ass truck, like really old, 930,000 miles on it, right? It was all a lie. Oh, you're getting this Cascadia they showed me, and then I get there, oh, that one had a, it was a fucking lie. It was all, don't even really want to go into it. The loads all sucked. It was this crappy, shitty place, the worst I've ever worked. Even like Sizzling Trucker says, well, nothing will be as bad as that place. And I've had some bad ones, but that one was bad. And then they just left me down there because they got mad because I told them to go fuck themselves. They wouldn't pay for my motel. They wanted me to sleep in the truck. It was like 85 degrees down there, which would be like 100 degrees in the truck. And they wouldn't pay for my Ubers or nothing, so I blew off my top, which I learned. That's why truckers don't give notice. You know what I mean? As I should have waited and told them when I got back to fuck off. But I've never had a company do that. So I figured they would just say, fuck off, and I would tell them to fuck off. And then I would go finish delivering my load in New Orleans and get back on, come back, and then we would just part ways. But nah, they got butthurt because I said some truth. And they wouldn't let me have the truck back from the repair facility. So I got stuck down there, and it was actually really bad because with that stuff that was going on at the airport with the TSA, people not coming to work, the airport lines were backed up and it was spring break, so all the rental cars were being used because people didn't want to wait in line, so they were renting rental cars. I think it was 3 or 4 days it took me to get a rental car, and then I had to pay for motels and all that. It got sketchy. Sizzling Trucker was going to come down and get me. What a good friend, right? Came down to the last minute. I finally found a rental car to get back. Cost me $1,500. Between rental cars, motels, Ubers, and all that. And that's not even a count that I didn't get my full last paycheck, because we never do, right? So you had that. Just, it's been like that. That's what's been going on, man. But I don't know. This place I'm at right now, it's always too soon to tell, because you gotta work there for quite a while, man. I've been at places like 6 to 8 months, and all of a sudden shit just hits the fan. I'm just gonna roll with it. Gotta do what I gotta do, man. I'm old. Don't really feel like fucking around. And I just gotta get through this. I got, what, 10, 12 more years left? You know, just get through this and just get done with it and retire. Be done. Not take too much shit, but so far we're just doing what we do, so. Yeah, with that said, I'm out. That's all I know. And I'll try to get out more videos and try to be a little more enthused and have a little more content volume and stuff like that. I just wanted to get this out there for respect, right? So, as always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch up with y'all later on.
Hey, all work, no pleasure. I ain't here to make friends, big stepper. Hey, bad guy, Heath Ledger. Ready for whatever, I'll be front and center. Don't fly too close to the sun, your body chopped up by propellers. Came in arrogant, but left out in a stretcher. Fuck the comparison, y'all know y'all couldn't replicate it. Chillin' in the desert, I'm good under pressure. Stick around when we hold it down.